Hello and welcome to our very first Global Talent Hub LinkedIn Live session on the pertinent topic of outplacement. So what I'd like to do is obviously introduce, and I would like to thank obviously everybody that is joining, obviously on the LinkedIn side. But I'd also like to thank obviously and introduce our panel as well of experts coming across the whole of our European community, covering Switzerland, Belgium, UK, France, and Germany. My name is Olivier Landerer. I'm the CEO of Global Talent Hub and your host today. And I'd like to present, obviously, my colleagues who are joining me as well on this panel. So if I could start with you, Carsten.
Would you like me to introduce myself, or would you
Yes,
like to do it
please.
yourself?
Yes, please introduce yourself. Yeah.
So very nice to meet all of you and see you all again. My name is Carsten Sudhoff. I'm a member of the management team at von Rundstedt in Switzerland. I'm German by origin, born in London and raised all over the world. I've been working in the field of outplacement and career consulting for the last 7 years, and I'm proud for the success that we've had in Switzerland and beyond. Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate your trust.
Thanks, Carsten. Hilde.
Hi, my name is Hilde De Brauw. I've been working in the field of outplacement for, I think, over 15 years now, of which the last 5 years for Travvant, and I'm the brand manager there. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Hilde. Michael.
Hi, I'm Michael Moran, Chief Executive of 1080. I think I've been doing career coaching now for over 20 years. Not only do I run the business, I very actively participate working with clients on a day-to-day basis. And it's truly a pleasure to do so. Thank you, Ollie.
Thank you, Michael. Christian.
Yes, thank you and welcome everybody. My name is Christian Summa. I'm the Managing Director of Rundstedt, Germany, one of the leading outplacement companies here in Germany. And I've been working now for von Rundstedt for 20 years. And before von Rundstedt, I worked something serious in the industry, for Airbus industry, in the internal change management consultancy.
Fantastic. Thank you, Christian. And Laurence.
Thank you. First, I'm very happy to be with all these experts around the table. So I'm Laurence Ranchon. I'm an executive coach and working for Alixio Group in France for more than 7 years, and more especially in the Alixio active entity, which is one of the major actor for outplacement in France.
Fantastic. Hey, thank you, Laurence. So let's just get straight into it. I think the first pertinent question that we have, and Haley, if you could bring that up, is why has outplacement developed this reputation? We talked about the fact that it's it tends to have can have a bad connotation, etc. But I just wanted to get your viewpoint on that, and particularly from your own country perspective as well. So maybe if I can start with you, Laurence, how you see that in France.
Thank you. First, what I would like to say that maybe in the outplacement word, there is two parts, the out and the placement. And with the out, I think that the bad reputation can be linked with the fact that we are thinking about going out of something. And I think that we should think about going in something new and going in a new company, in a new position. So this is the first point I want to focus on. And the second thing is about the placement. So we have the idea that someone will place you, so will take you from somewhere to somewhere else. And the idea for me is more to think about how to help people to be proactive and to be actor of their own career. So I think that this is one of the first point I would like to share about this word of outplacement.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, Laurence. It's in Belgium, it's a bit the same. People think that they will be placed, that they will get someone, a coach, who will push them towards a very quick new job. And obviously, when you are fired, that's not the first thought. You are full of emotions and going through the process. So the mere fact that someone will place you is a bit annoying. So that's, I think, why it's not so particularly a bad reputation, but people doubt. They're not sure what I'm going to get there, and what they will get is totally different from all that's in their heads.
So it's more of a negative connotation, Hilde, on that front.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Michael, from a UK perspective.
I said at the outset, I've got sort of 20 years experience, and I think over that 20 years, we've seen a major change. I think originally outplacement was about helping people find jobs. And I think the suppliers have moved to what I call to launching people. And what we've done is we've replaced one-to-one with tech. And consequently, I think both for the corporate organization and for the individual, people have seen it as well, it's okay, it's nice to have, but it doesn't make a real difference. And we as an industry are to blame for that, because ultimately outplacement is about helping people make successful career transitions. That's helping getting jobs. And therefore, I think that reputation around, well, it's okay, but it's not great, has been a result of reducing the amount of one-to-one coaching.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Christian.
Yeah, I think it depends on the perspective. If you talk to the employer or the employee. For the employer, it's important that he have a partner, a service partner, a consultancy partner, who helps him to create an outplacement process for the affected people. He wants to separate, and that this process is quite employer image friendly. And from the employee side, I would agree to my colleagues before. The term out and placement in the situation is not what they want or like to hear. Also from our side, yes, highly welcome. I'm your outplacement consultant, and therefore in addition, with the placement, they underlined or have the hope, yes, they will place me actively in the hidden jobs, which I cannot find on the so-called open market. So it's a little bit misleading that we help them to and support them, but not really place them directly in new jobs. More or less, we are the supporter for this process. And so the term outplacement from the employee side is a little bit misleading.
Okay, thanks, Christian. What about from your point of view, Carsten?
Well, I guess the average employee doesn't come across the term outplacement until D-Day, when basically the company decides to separate. So obviously the term has a negative connotation in the beginning. However, it's a change curve. It's a U-shaped curve. So people start the process on a low, but they always finish the curve on a high. So they eventually learn that outplacement is actually something really cool and something helpful.
Interesting. No, thank you for that. I think it really does stack up in terms of the wording as one piece of it. Obviously, people going through that and how that obviously transitions through. But as you quite rightly said, Carsten, at the end, it's about supporting them and bringing them to the next level and to the next stage. So no, fantastic. Thank you for your inputs there.
And
next
maybe
question.
just
Sure,
one
Laurence.
point, yes, just to the latest intervention, just to say that maybe in the past people were not really happy when they were proposed to have an outplacement because of the bad reputation, and now we see more and more people who are requested to have an outplacement because they understand how it can help them, and it is not just about doing a CV and making some application, but it's really about develop themselves during these transition phases. So it's more like a good point for them to it's like a positive part of their career finally.
The positive impact, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, to underline this argument, we had some competitors here in Germany who repositioned the name outplacement with best placement or a new placement for this aspect. But I can say, as a market leader, today, also the employees as the employers have no more any problem with the outplacement as a term. Yeah.
Okay. No, great. No, perfect. Well, let's move on to the next question now, because I think it's always pertinent. So what impact does this have on talents? And I think you already started to allude to some things, of course, Laurence, you were already talking about that. But let me start with you, Carsten. How do you see that?
So while outplacement in the early days was a mere service to help employees resurface and help employers to manage a process which obviously has some negative aspects to it, I think it has developed into a skill building process. The competition has gotten more and more fierce. Companies are more choosy. There's more technology involved, and obviously it's a question of gamification. So if one person starts to be supported in the professional job search, he or she increases the barriers to entry for other people. So if you know that you're up against your competitors' hard skill training or job searching training, you might actually consider that this is something also for you. While previously you might have not thought about outplacement as being a service for you, you realize that your friend, your neighbor, your husband, your wife, or somebody else has benefited, and you see that the competition is using it, well, you might reconsider and choose it yourself. So it has a very strong impact on talent and on talent development ultimately.
Sure. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you, Carsten. Christian, what about from your point of view in Germany?
Yeah, I would say, are we talking about the talents who are affected or the
Correct.
talents who are not affected? For the non-affected talents, I think it's a kind of retention measure that they see, okay, even in the case I'm affected of losing my job, the employer will help me to redefine, and that they will have a chance to get in a new and sustainable, new, good career step transition. And that's the perspective for the affected people. So to get a sparring, professional sparring, and not only we show you how to make a resume or to get a good interview, but also what is the next good career transition step for me? And to have an answer for this question is fundamental for the affected talents.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Christian. Michael?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think it's really at the heart of what we as career coaches we do. We're helping the individual to identify what I call those motivated talents. And in an era where we're seeing the impact of AI, having transferable skills is really, really important. And so working with individuals, and not just from a point of view of the outplacement program today, but getting them to think about what are the skills and knowledge and expertise they have to develop over the next 5 years, 10 years, to ensure the marketplace wants to buy those skills. And that's really at the heart of what a career coach does. So a really important part of what we do.
No, fantastic. Thank you, Michael. Hilde?
Yeah, I totally agree there. I think it's very important, or I think the biggest impact that the talent receive from the outplacement is that probably for the first time in their career, they start thinking about what am I doing and why am I doing this and what could be a possible next step, that could be completely different from the step that I was in before, the job I was in before. And going through that process of reflecting on your career makes you stronger afterwards, because you will do it again. We also tell people that probably this will not be the last outplacement that they will go through. We tell that right from the start, and people are amazed. Wow, why should I do that twice or even 3 times? we say because that's the way careers work nowadays. You will need to reinvent yourself like every 4 or 5 years, not only to keep your career enjoyable and to stay motivated, but maybe because of something that happens like a layoff. So they start reflecting on themselves, on their passions, on their skills, which are transferable, which not, on training, which kind of training should I do to stay employable in this market that's changing so rapidly. So I think that's the biggest impact. And that's what we hear also a lot, because we share a lot of success stories. We call them success stories of people who start quite hesitantly in the outplacement. And then afterwards they hand on a high, like you said, and they share what the outplacement did to them, what was the impact. And the biggest impact is that they started reflecting about how should I manage myself and my career.
Okay, awesome, Hilde. Yeah, I think that very, very pertinent points. I think for definitely for the talents and the way that they're moving through. So that's great. And Laurence, what about from your perspective in France?
Yeah, just to complete, because a lot of things have been already said, but I think really the point is really for people to be the actor of the next part of their career. So I think this is the main impact that we can see, that before sometimes you have some people who are just following the opportunities and just saying yes to some opportunities, and for the first time sometimes, and maybe they will it will happen again after, they will have to decide, they will have to choose, and so they will have to think what is the best place for them, and what is the best position. So I think this is really a change of mind sometimes, and this is the big impact that we can see on thanks to the outplacement program.
Yeah, can I just add something?
Sure.
Because what for me, when I get a talent in coaching after a layoff, the biggest thing that happens to people with layoff is they lose control. Control is being taken from them. So they didn't choose for that layoff, and they regain or retain that control by going through that process. That's what I understand from what you were saying, Laurence, and
Yeah.
I think that's totally correct.
Yeah. And I think just one extra point, I think, is that whole idea that you said, Hilde, that people are going through multiple outplacements. It's not that you're not going through one, you're going through several. And I think it's because the nature of where the world is today and where the world is going, whether it's digitization, whether it's other type of technologies coming to play. But I do think that those topics are ones that are really prevalent in the market.
Absolutely.
Can I
Awesome.
add
Yes.
a subset of ideas here?
Sure.
Because obviously the term outplacement is linked to leaving one job and finding another one. But the competencies that the clients learn in the process can be used for a lot of other things. So I think of salary negotiations inside a company, applying for certain promotions or for certain jobs, leading projects. Because suddenly in this outplacement process, you begin to reflect on your abilities and on your successes, and you can use those to better position yourself going forward in the future roles. So I think there's a lot of byproduct that typically goes unnoticed when we just focus on moving a person from the old job to the new job.
Yep. Absolutely. Great. Well, thank you for your inputs there. Let's go on to the third and last question that we have, which what should organizations be focusing on when it comes to choosing a provider? And let's start with you, Michael.
Well, and I'm going to sort of widen the question, if I might, Ollie, because I'm
Sure.
going to pick up on what Christian and Carsten said. Christian's absolutely right around one of the things to focus on when you have to get rid of people, and all organizations do have to do that on occasion, is to think about the people you want to retain. And the manner in which you handle that departure will tell you very clearly, does this organization care for me? And B, if it happened to me, will I get a job? So that's at the heart of it. Carsten's point is, I think, really important. It isn't just about moving people out. It's around how you get agile organizations that are going to respond to change. And so this ability to, and organizations tend not to be good at internal mobility, But I'm suggesting, and this is a bit of a plug for GTTH, which is it's about developing agility, isn't it? And therefore, can we work with a provider that helps us identify the talents we've got? Can we work with an organisation that says, what are the talents we need to build, and how can we create that agility that we can move from A to B quickly? Because that's what defines a successful organisation. So I'm thinking, in looking for a provider, you're not just wanting someone who can look after the people who are leaving. You're looking for a provider that can help affect that change going in. And said here, it's a plus for the GTH, because that's what we're good at. We're good at helping organisations identify the talents, both what they want and what they want to leave.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Hilde, what about from your point from Belgium? Oh, you're on mute, I think.
So sorry. I knew it wouldn't be happening to me.
It's always that mute. It's always that mute topic, huh? It always comes up sometimes.
Because the doorbell rang. I thought, oh, that's not. Sorry. The question: organizations, what should they be focusing on? What I think they should focus on is they want to care for the people that are leaving their company, and they can only know that people will be taken care of if they know that company cares, the outplacement company then cares also about these people, so that they know that they will take good care of them, that they will guide them through the emotional process, that they will take care of their mental health, that they will take care, that they also have the resources. By resources, I will say that they have good coaches with good qualifications, that they have a good platform, that they have AI technology, that they have everything it takes to take care of their people, and that they should also listen to their people, because every story of those people who are getting laid off are unique stories. One person will need more of this, another person will need more of that. So they should really be people focused and listen to these people, so that they can take as much good care of them as possible. How do they know, these organizations, that would be such a provider? By metrics. So as an organization, as a provider, you should be able to provide the right metrics to show that you can do that. Metrics, for instance, like the success stories that we share so much. If people want to give us testimonials that they really had great outplacements, then that does mean that we as a provider offer great outplacements. And all kinds of other metrics are really good. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you, Hilde. Thanks for that.
Because everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Christian.
I would add to the arguments of Michael. We have more and more customers who are afraid that in a separation process, the wrong people leave the company. So it's not a miracle that that people leave your company, but that the right people stay and the right people leave the company. And this is what they ask us for. Can you help us to identify with competences, skill metrics, and so on? Can you help us as well to identify before we start this process which people we should keep and which people can we do with redeployment activities for the internal perspective and transition market? And can you help us then these people who we cannot redefine in our new processes and our new structure, that they finally leave the company and that this process runs very smoothly. So it's multiplier aspect for our customers, and at least in Germany, they told us, yes, the classic consultant companies stopped with defining full-time equivalence, and then they don't say Christian, Michael, or Hugo have to leave, or Christian, Michael, Hugo can stay with redeployment activities. And how do we manage this process? So it cuts more and more complex, and they want to respect their values, their company values, and the cultural and the local values as well. So a global aspect is fine to help them in global restriction suspects, but they use or they are interested in a global partner with local knowledge of labor law, of values, cultural aspects, and finally knowing the customer as well. Therefore, I think the work is coming more and more complex, and this shall be a good provider, shall have these aspects to fulfill.
Covering those aspects, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. And also, as you mentioned, the upskilling, reskilling piece of being able to assist organizations in the people that you have moving and transitioning or redeploying internally. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's really great. No, thank you for that. And Carsten, what about from Switzerland perspective?
Well, I'm going to argue from the Swiss perspective, but I think what I'm going to say applies to all European countries, if not being a global phenomenon. So this whole aspect of community building and networking abilities. So it's a future skill. It is something that the algorithms can't do yet, as well as the human being. So companies are interested in working with a outplacement provider who is building a community, who teaches how to network, because we know that this is not just a key future skill, but it's also a key career catalyst, and it makes people feel good.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Carsten. Yeah, very pertinent. And Laurence?
Yes, I will just add that I think that one of the main points is to be agile. So agile with, as you said, with all the community available in the provider, to be agile with the new job, agile with the new way of working. So I think that the good provider is the one who is able to go around all this possibility in order to give the best resources and the best way to help people to reach the right place for him. So this is something, yes, about agility.
The agility, yeah, I hear a lot of agility, the ability to support, the ability to assist organizations in that whole process, because I think the change management piece is one that is always a little bit can be left to one side, and I think that's always quite pertinent and important. But thank you for your inputs there. We've got another couple of minutes, I think, left over. I was just thinking, do we have any questions or any comments actually? There we are. Here we go. So question from Liz is, what are the common misconceptions about outplacement services, and how can organizations across Europe improve the perception and effectiveness of these programs? I'm going to leave it completely open to you guys. So whoever wants to answer that, feel free. Go ahead.
Maybe I'll start. The misconception could be that only people who underperform get outplaced, and that is not true. It can happen to literally anybody and everybody. It's oftentimes and predominantly a strategic discussion or decision or commercial decision, which only in secondary or tertiary dimension has anything to do with the individual. So I think we need to move away from this idea, he or she got outplaced, something must be wrong with that person. I'll stop here.
I also think sometimes for me, the individual's perspective is not aware of what an outplacement provider does. And I've had comments like, well, you're a recruiter, aren't you? I've also had comments, well, you're a psychiatrist, aren't you? So there is that piece around making sure when an organization buys outplacement, there is an understanding of what the outplacement provider is going to do. Because for most people, I think someone said earlier, the only time they come across outplacement is when they're losing their job, which is a relatively unusual occurrence.
I would just add, in a lot of projects where especially if they are Europe-wide, we see some problems at the customers with the communication aspects. So in one country, they start with a communication strategy goes on the left side, and in the other country on the right side. So and misleading that the people and the employees talk together, at least the work councils. And this is, so if you install such a process with a partner, with a provider, that to have in mind what is the communication strategy which is key for a successful process. And this can, outplacement in a globally or international active provider can have this in mind.
Fantastic. Thank you, Christian. Great. Well, listen, I think we've just come to time. I'm not sure. Are there any other? Was there a last question? I don't think there was, huh? So I'd like to obviously thank my esteemed panel here of European experts giving us their view, obviously on the outplacement world. Stay tuned. Obviously, we're going to have some more LinkedIn live sessions coming, and I'm very pleased. This is our first one. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I would like to thank the audience as well who've participated today, and obviously look forward to seeing you guys all again soon. So thank you, and see you soon, and have a nice rest of the week.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.